kind of talk the whole scope of all the resorts on property. Rick Allen's general manager of the Art of Animation Resort, which you're staying, and also Pop Century Resort.
So the first, what do you term, value resort, the first indoor corridor value resort at Disney. What's the thought process on that?
Yeah, essentially, WDI wanted to, as you've seen now, do something more powerful at Disney's Art of Animation. And I'll describe that a few ways to you. The first one that I think is readily apparent to you, they wanted to make sure that this story was even more immersive than we've ever done. Both, I would say, externally. The Nemo pool would be a great example of that, and those icons that are there. But probably even more important than that, to really pull in the story of each of these themes into the guest room itself. And a part of that is they felt like that they wanted to create this resort in with an internal corridor. What it did, by the way, and this may not have been apparent to you, but it created these wonderful backdrops then that they could then go and really do some nice iconic treatment on. So it's probably as much about that as it is the fact that we now have an internal hallway for our guests. And I think both those things just work wonderfully. I won't tell you that that's how we might treat the next resort that we might do, because we're a creative group, and we try to really think about this as we do our resort.
One of the buildings still has an exterior corridor. What was the thought on that?
It's the Little Mermaid resort, which is our typical value rooms. So that's the same as Pop Century and the same as All Star. Different than the family suite rooms that have the internal corridor.
Does the presence of Cars Land at the resort mean that we won't see that in any of the parks?
I won't say anything to you in that regard. We are just happy, quite frankly, to have Cars Land represented in one of our resorts. And you all know that the Cars Land that's been created at Disneyland and California Adventure is just spectacular. If you haven't seen that, let me just tell you, I have, and it's spectacular.
I haven't seen it.
And again, I would just say to you, we're a creative group, and we're always thinking about what our product looks like. And next question.
Did you do any collaboration between what was going on in California? Did any of that work inform your work here for this resort?
Yeah, I'll let Rick talk about some of that.
I would say it certainly did, but our Imagineers would be better to answer that question for you. But clearly they were, if you've seen both, you could tell that the characters are and Pixar is was very involved. And they're certainly particular about exactly how Lightning McQueen looks and how Sally looks, and so I'm sure there was a lot of collaboration.
Yeah, they were the Pixar team with Walt Disney World were joined at the hip basically for both these projects, and so John Lasseter, on an overall basis, he was very much a part of the initial design, the initial implementation, walked the project with Rick a couple of times, and was by the way, very happy with how it turned out. And you can always get a good feel for that when everywhere he went, he was handing his camera over to Rick and saying, "Please take a picture of me in front of us." He was like a proud papa.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he was the same way at Cars Land.
Can you speak to the design? I know you can't talk to the timeshare side, but the design component of the new Grand Floridian piece? Is it going to match up in a similar motif?
Yeah, it is. And so Walt Disney Imagineering, of course, is just as they did when you think about Kidani at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you think about Bay Lake Tower in relation to the contemporary. They are, of course, thinking what that external treatment is going to look like. It won't be a duplicate, but it will be very complementary. of this, what is in fact our iconic hotel that we have here at Walt Disney World. And then the internal treatment of the resort is, and I've seen it, I just would say it's very Grand Floridian, you know, upscale, everything that you would think that it would be. Is in my estimation going to be one of the nicest Disney Vacation Club products that we've created so far.
Have you announced a date on when it will be open?
Yeah, it's going to open in fall of 2013. And it's right under 200 rooms there, just to give you an idea of size and scale.
How large would the largest accommodations be? How many people?
Well, it's called a Grand Villa is the unit. We have Grand Villas in every one of our Disney Vacation Club resorts, and I am trying to. Yeah. I will.
I'll ask Jason.
Yeah, we'll have to check. Yeah.
It's. I know it's quite a few.
Square feet. Yeah.
We're really, I would just say to you, really happy, of course, to have Art of Animation now in the resort collection. As I said to you, 28,000 rooms now. We've done some other very nice room treatments recently, too. In recent time, the pirate rooms at Caribbean Beach that you have some, I see head nods, some knowledge around. And then most recently, the Royal Rooms that we did at the Riverside, Port Orleans, specifically, a little over 500 rooms there. So, and we continue to get great feedback on these rooms that are very thematic in nature, very immersive to a storyline, and it's really continuing to diversify our product.
Did you do anything, and this is for either of you, at Art of Animation that you consider kind of a breakthrough or something that you're really proud of specifically with this resort compared to all the work you've done in the past?
And I'd immediately think of two things. One is I just love it that we've got this family suite product now in a larger scale. We had tried it at All-Star. It was very popular, but it was about 300 rooms there, so the scale was very small in our world, and so now having 1,120 more of them, really all focused on this idea that there's this multi-generational travel, etc. out there, is just really great. The other one, simply said, is just this immersive experience, and you have experienced that. I mean, the quality of treatment and all the way through in the guest room is just fabulous.
And even starting with the check-in, the new check-in area.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the front desk is made in little pods, and so that's a good.
Oh, yeah.
I walked up and I felt like it was.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that before, but having spent a little time there, yes, I agree.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.